Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I am continuing my kind of micro tours throughout my home garden here in Central North Carolina Zone 7. And tonight we are going to start back here on kind of the back half near the greenhouse, where I have a bunch of different food crops and ornamental crops growing all together. So let me turn the camera around and give you an up-close look. Well, I showed you lemongrass that's in a pot. Look at lemongrass in the ground. It loves it. No, it's not hardy, although I guess you never know with the weather that we have now. But look at how fabulous these big clumpy grasses are, and that is lemongrass. And adjacent to those are Asclepias, believe this is Incarnata. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. It hasn't flowered. It might be Alba, but you can see the reason I grow it is for monarch caterpillars, and they have been busy munching it down. This is the second week of having monarch caterpillars of all different stages, and I think we're going to have a good butterfly population this year. At the base of the Whoa Nelly Holly is Treasure Island sweet potatoes, just meandering about as a ground cover, and coming up through those are onions, which the onions help protect the sweet potatoes from getting eaten by the deer because of the smelly foliage. The salvias also help with regard to that. So I have a lot of deer. Of course, we've got cute kittens in this garden as well. Now, I've talked about this Gerber daisy, and it's just so amazing. It does seem to be sterile. None of the seeds actually seem to produce anything viable, but that's okay. The plant itself is amazing. I wish I knew the cultivar. I do not. And you can see this has become a really good, solid planting. You know, most of this is direct seeded, including the carrots that are still flowering there. But again, that sweet potato as a ground cover is really effective in preventing weed infestations. Now, without hesitation, this is the best pepper on my property. I have no idea what variety it is. I'm sure that it's a hot pepper that I won't be able to eat. I mean, that looks like it would be a hot pepper, right? Small and red and puckered. But I'm excited just for it to get covered in peppers, and I may just treat it like an ornamental because I don't want my insides to turn outside. But it's an impressive plant, nevertheless. So I wish all my peppers were as healthy and fruitful as this one. That's not usually how not hot peppers work. So continuing on the pepper discussion, I've got some more great peppers here. The nice thing is this one, whose name I don't remember, isn't hot. You can totally eat it red, and you just, you know, I don't even de-seed it. It's really terrific. And then these are all shishito peppers, and I need to come through and harvest all the red ones. And you can eat shishitos green as well. They've been really great. And then this Belgian white, I think that's what this is. You know, it definitely gets some foliar issues, not like peppers. Similar to zinnias, kind of get this black spot issue, some leaf puckering. But it does, at this stage, it doesn't impact their ability to set fruit and flower. So, or flower and set fruit. The tomatoes here are finally, hopefully, yes, I see lots of tomatoes now. I've mentioned this earlier, it's just has not been a great tomato season for me, but I didn't try all that hard either. Sometimes you gotta take a break. And I featured this the other day in my pest or pollinator video, but here is the celery that I grew from seed over a year ago. I seeded this in the beginning of August of 2021. It's been growing in this 100-gallon root pouch, and now it is getting eaten by swallowtail caterpillars. You can see it various life stages here. They've already eaten the whole top of the plant. And this is precisely why I grow celery. Though I do eat it, I mostly grow it so that the swallowtails can benefit from it. Well, this is a border I don't really ever show because it's not particularly interesting, but the Treasure Island sweet potato has done really well filling in the ground cover along here. I have a sad hydrangea, but this is one that Dr. Durr actually gave me. But you can see it gets Psychospora, which is this really ugly leaf issue. I shouldn't keep it, but I have it. And the pomegranates have remarkably recovered from their ambrosia beetle infestation. You might remember in the spring, these were really tall trees and they didn't leaf out to the top, and that was from ambrosia beetles actually infesting their woody stalks. And you can see the beetle damage the holes that are everywhere. I'm not ambitious enough to dig these out, so I just cut them down, and you can see they've grown back out from the roots. I mean, it would be great if I could just keep these as small shrubs, but that's not really their habit. So we'll just see if the ambrosia beetle keeps infecting them. Maybe they'll just die out on their own. Otherwise, I'll just keep growing them as a cutback. So on the east side of the greenhouse, I think it's fair to acknowledge this is one of my shadiest areas. And that's because this Prunus mume has gotten so big, and the wall of figs, which is finally starting to produce, blocks a lot of light. And then you've got, a redwood that's just randomly growing there, and a wall of bananas. And this is no longer a reasonable place to do containers through the summer. I just will remove all of these so that during the fall open garden, this will be an easy pathway to walk on. I don't need these pots here. They're really underperforming. In fact, a lot of these, I think, are just in too much shade, and the seedlings that germinated have died off. This one, which is in more sun, is the only calendula that looks good. So I'm going to transplant these out into the garden so they can reach their max and get into more broad daylight, because this is just too shady now. And it's funny, as I walk under this arch, I really wanted these arches to be covered this year, and I just didn't do a great job of getting them planted. Got cream sausage tomatoes growing really well here. This champagne grape is ugly, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the taste of it. So I've been thinking about just cutting it down and removing it. It's growing out of this pot. I don't want to put it in the ground. I also, it may get infected with nematodes and stuff, and I'm also just concerned about it potentially spreading everywhere, and I don't want to have to deal with grapes. I know some people love growing grapes. I'm not one of them. I don't like keeping up with perennial vines. I don't find that culture to be something that I enjoy or actually do very well. So next year, it's definitely my goal to make this archway more meaningful, because it's not living up to its fullest potential as it is. I just have to make some decisions. Now this walkway I'm super pleased with. These were just coleus that I rooted in vases, and those are caladium bulbs that I got at Walmart in a bag. And you really can't go wrong when you plant caladiums dormant in a bulb. You can grow them in quite a lot of sun. If you buy them vegetatively growing, they need to go into more shade. So if you want to grow caladiums in a wider range of areas, just buy those bagged bulbs in the spring. Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, they all sell them. And then you can get a really colorful, super low maintenance border. None of the animals seem to be interested in eating the caladiums. Well, as we come up here to the back porch beds, I'm really glad that I took the initiative a few weeks ago in the middle of August to sort of clean up this bed. I got rid of the underperforming borer-ridden zucchini. You can see some garlic that I missed last year harvesting is starting to grow, so that's the sign that I can dig that up and actually divide it and transplant it and fill this entire border. Because remember, the garlic helps prevent deer, rabbits, and in-ground animals like voles from getting in the bed and eating. These peppers are doing really well. There's lots of jalapenos there, and again, it is still early compared to last year when I was rating the sweet potatoes. This is my best sweet potato arch this year, and I would really like to get rid of that sour gherkin, because I just think it's really ugly. I really want to see this entire thing covered in sweet potato, which I think will happen. It'll just happen like more towards the end of October through November. It's not going to be doing that for the open garden. But next to it is the most intoxicating fragrance. That is the Brugmansia Charles Grimaldi. And it's predominantly fragrant at this time of day, and I just keep getting the most incredible whiffs of its sweet perfume. That is the angel trumpet. Don't eat it. You know, be responsible. I love it. It's been planted in the ground 11 years. It's been totally hardy. It dies typically to the ground. And for me in this climate, because it's vegetative up until now, it always starts to bloom as the days begin to get significantly shorter. Well, the feed tank needs to be cleaned. I'll get to that. But the bed itself is just, I think it's really great. It's so much fun when you're inside because you're just like ground level surrounded by coleus and basil. And into this bed here, the pineapple sage, the milkweed, which somebody said didn't look like milkweed, but I promise you it is milkweed. Not all milkweeds are broadleafed, and actually none of the native to North Carolina milkweeds are broadleafed. They're all much more narrow foliaged like this. You know, the pepper plants are doing well. Of course, the amazel basil and these self-sown zinnias. I'm really pleased. It's every year looks different, and I think this bed looked better last year because of the Treasure Island sweet potatoes. But I was trying not to plant the same thing in the same place over and over again. And next year I can grow sweet potatoes there again and have that really colorful, dynamic ground cover. But for this season, I think it looks good. It's very productive. And everything is pretty well established. I'm not having to irrigate a lot, and that's always a huge relief, because not all of this plant material is drought tolerant. Well, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's tour, and I hope you've enjoyed this installation of kind of a mid-September in-depth garden tour. I do hope that you will plan to come and visit. We have the fall open garden scheduled for Saturday, September 24th from noon to 4 p.m. Click the link in the description so that you can get all the details. I will have all of the cool season seeds available for sale. I've been busy every night stuffing seed packs, and I'm really excited to be able to offer a wider range of seed varieties than I've ever had before, all of which are best for fall planting to provide a really incredible spring cottage garden effect next year. Don't worry, I'm going to be posting tons of how-to videos to give you all the step-by-step instructions so that you will have a successful direct seeding experience. And in the meantime, I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support and your interest, and I hope you will subscribe and continue to like these videos. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.